I'll use this video to talk about the topic of academic honesty. You may be wondering what academic honesty is, and to begin that discussion, I'm going to look at examples of behavior that students might have in their classes. And I want to think about which ones of these are examples of academic dishonesty. Number one, getting help from the SDSU Writing Center or a tutor. Number two, copying a sentence from the internet and putting it in your paper as if you wrote it. Number three, working with your classmates on a homework assignment where everyone writes the same answers. Number four, buying a paper from a website that writes the paper for you. Number five, submitting a paper you submitted last semester for an assignment you submitted this semester. Number six, sending a rough draft to your friend and your friend sends your paper back to you with all the grammar errors corrected. So if you want, take a moment and think right now, which ones of these are examples of academic dishonesty? That is, examples of classroom behaviors that would be breaking the rules of the university. All right, so I want to let you know that all of these, except for number one, are examples of academic dishonesty. And the idea being that for the first one, it's quite all right if you're getting help from the SDSU Writing Center or a tutor. That is absolutely an option, and we encourage you to use the resources that you have available to you so that you can get the help you need to do the best in the class. The others are examples of academic dishonesty, and we'll talk about those examples a little bit more later. So I do want to give you a quick introduction and say that one thing that happens is that academic honesty can vary from culture to culture. And what might be academic honesty in American culture might not be academic honesty in another culture. For example, plagiarism is a word and a practice that can vary from culture to culture. So that is why we are taking some time today to get familiarity with these concepts. And one important place that you can learn more about San Diego State University's policies on academic honesty is from the syllabus. So if you see, I just clicked right there and it'll take you to the section in the syllabus on academic honesty. And you can see that there is a link to the Center for Student Rights and Responsibilities and their policy on cheating and plagiarism. So it is not just something that is specifically for this class, it is a policy that is for the whole university. So this will be the policy in this class, and it'll be the policy in all your other classes at San Diego State University. I encourage you, if you can, take a moment and read through the policy through that half page so that you can become familiar with the academic policy, the academic honesty policy at San Diego State University. All right, so another thing that I want to think about is that I want to give you this general definition of academic honesty. In general, follow the assignment directions. I think that that can a lot of times include and tell you exactly how you're going to be following or what the assignment requires of you and what you should be doing so that you are being academically honest. And I think that, you know, it's this guideline right here is do your own unique work for each assignment. So that means don't be using answers that your friends submitted. Don't be using assignment answers that you submitted for maybe even a completely different assignment, completely different class. Don't submit something that you submitted last semester or maybe for a different class. Be doing your own unique work so that you are approaching the assignment and learning from it in the way that your teacher wants you to. So one exception is I wanted to point out that oftentimes it can be okay to use ideas and words from connected assignments. So sometimes assignments build off each other. For example, if you have a brainstorming activity that is supposed to help you come up with ideas, and then you have an essay that you're writing based on that brainstorming activity, ideas that you come up with in that brainstorming activity, you, again, check with your teacher if you're not sure, but you should be able to use that that language and those words and those ideas from your brainstorming activity. And I want to say that in general, like getting help and working with others for assignments is okay if you need to generate ideas. But again, go back to this idea of you're doing your own unique work. You're writing different answers. So you can help each other and exchange ideas. And sometimes, you know, two heads are better than one. So that way you can come up with these ideas. But again, make sure you can put it in your own words, because you are responsible for knowing how to produce the ideas, because what you're turning in should reflect what you understand about the assignment. And if all you know about the assignment is what your classmate wrote, then that's being dishonest and not showing your teacher what you understand. So keep that in mind when you're doing group work or you're collaborating with a classmate or a friend. And if you use ideas from other places, correctly cite that information. It isn't a problem if you want to take a quote from someone. That's what happens in university, where we have to build our ideas off of what's already been established and what has been learned. So just make sure that if you're doing that, you're following the correct citation practices for your discipline. And lastly, if you follow these guidelines, you've been trying to think about whether or not something you're doing is an example of academic honesty and you're not sure, just ask. Your teacher will tell you whether or not something is allowed for the assignment, for the class, whatever is you have questions about. And I want to let you know that sometimes this American academic honesty, this idea of do your own work, don't copy from others, and some of like the plagiarism software we use, things like that, sometimes it maybe can feel like punishment or surveillance, especially if we do have to make a report to the Center for Academic Honesty, or the Student Center for, what is that place called? The Center for Student Rights and Responsibilities. If we have to file a report, sometimes that can feel like punishment or surveillance, but the goal is really what we're doing is good academic practices that are promoting critical thinking and doing your own work. So these are the practices that you should be doing in a university setting, and that you're expected, that your professors have gone through to get their degrees, and these are the practices that are important in an American university. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to use the next couple videos to go over those examples and see what we can learn from them. Now that you have the basic explanations, let's look at the specific examples.